Welcome to Opening Bid. I'm Yahoo Finance Executive Editor Brian Sozzi. Now, let's make some money and get a lot smarter. Cool guest on the show today. Here with me now is Tesla investor Alexandra Merz, better known as Tesla Boomer Mama on X. Alexandra, I love that name. We have a lot to talk about, but how did you get that name? I need a cool name like that. It's just my name I have on X. It's not as cool as yours.
I can make you a name. Brian. I'm not
All right,
sure
we'll take that offline. Well, how did you get that? How'd you think of that name? I mean, that's hilarious.
It is. We discovered Tesla. Discovered is not the right word, but we bought our first Tesla in 2020. And I was so amazed. I felt like I have to talk about it, and what better platform than Twitter. I had a Twitter account, but with a completely different name on it, because I was actually immigrating from Europe to United States. And that Twitter handle was dedicated to that. So I had to change it. And I was like, okay, I want to talk about Tesla. There's no doubt about it. And it's been the case for the last 4 years. But what else? And I'm a mama. I'm a mother of 5 now young adults. And I'm getting close to being a boomer. And I have a strategy that rather underselling myself and people thinking she's a cute boomer than a late Gen X. So there it was, Tesla Boomer Mama.
That's impressive stuff. Out of all the guests we've had here on Opening Bid, I'm really looking forward to having a discussion with you, because in many respects, you are the Yahoo Finance community, a passionate retail investor that's just trying to better understand companies. In your case, it is Tesla. So before we go into some of, the aspects of Tesla, as a retail investor, what do you do? We're seeing the markets under severe pressure. As I came up to start taping this episode with you, I mean, Tesla shares were down 8% because some other tech stocks were down. Like, take us through your typical day when we see this type of volatility in these markets.
Well, my typical day is actually my day job, right? So I'm not, as a retail investor, in front of the Yahoo screen all day. I'm going there from time to time, but not scotched to it. So the advantage we retail investors have, clearly, is that we have a completely different time horizon, right? So a daily mess like today doesn't really affect us. It's actually a buying opportunity. I constantly dollar cost average into Tesla. And so for me, this is just another good opportunity. So days I want to purchase, I'm actually very closely monitoring the market, seeing when I do that. But there are days I don't even look at the price anymore, because my horizon, I've very clearly decided my horizon is at least 5 to 10 years. And Tesla needs that. I really caution anybody trying to short-term trade Tesla and any other tech stock for that. So if you have the time horizon, if you have come clear with what you want with a stock, it's actually very easy to digest days like that.
So on days like this, stock is down really on no apparent fundamental reason. You're a buyer. I mean, for you,
I am.
You just see a great opportunity looking out over the next decade, and this is just one moment in time.
That is correct.
Are you in the Cathie Wood camp? I think Cathie came out, friend of Yahoo Finance, frequent guest, always enjoy talking to her, but she came out recently, $2,600 price target on Tesla by 2029. What do you think about that one?
It's a very reasonable price target. Mine is actually higher, not that I am doing as much extensive research as they do. When Cathie Wood and the ARK team came up with that price, they have not included Optimus. And we will actually see Optimus ready. Optimus, the humanoid bot that Tesla will start selling to third parties end of 2025. And for me, that is the biggest opportunity of all the Tesla opportunities out there. So if you consider, like Cathie, that just cars, full self-driving and energy bring you to 2,600 in 5 years, you should include the bot and you'll get to completely different numbers.
So what's your price target then?
Well, I'm very convinced that this goes in the 5,000s or 10,000s once people understand what Tesla is all about. Tesla currently is still looked as a car maker. Tesla is anything but. I mean, these are robots on wheels. Oh, before I start, maybe I should actually ask you, Brian, do you own a Tesla? Have you ever driven a Tesla?
I don't. And I love it. I love when guests ask me questions. No, I don't. But let me tell you what I do own. Not that I don't appreciate Tesla. Love the technology. I get it. So I'm still a car guy, always been a car guy. I own a gas-guzzling Cadillac Blackwing, and I bought a Corvette 2019 for my 40th birthday because, look, I have no kids, I have no life, this is all I do, so why not? But I appreciate the Tesla community.
Good. Well, you should. We're great. We're a great community. I have to say this community, especially on X, but there are also communities outside of X, reunites, in my view, the smartest of the smart. They're just great, and a great connection between all of us. I mean, some have very specific rabbit hole, deep down knowledge. Others are more in the more broader economy. It is amazing how these people come together on a subject like Tesla and how much enthusiasm there is. Now, to get back to your question, it is clear that when people have not used a Tesla, and certainly not used FSD, it is very complicated to understand what a robot on wheel actually is. And they then focus on any car metrics that we know, because typical analysts will look at GM or will look at Ford and try to compare, or Toyota or whatever it is. And that's just not it. That is like comparing the old style phones with today's Apple smartphone or Samsung smartphone. So the comparison is just so different. But what is even more astonishing to people who have not experienced it is how actually this car experience, this car full self-driving technology is the root for so much more. By understanding how you can visually digest whatever is out there and make the car move in consequence, you actually understand so much more than anything else. Because there's nothing else comparable where people have mastered vision to action. And so, it is amazing to talk about, it's amazing to think about it on a day-to-day basis, what this is possible. But what people often ignore is how this is actually now just one puzzle piece to this bot that's going to come up, because there again you will have vision of the bot then acting on behalf of the bot, doing services, doing labor, doing services for people at home, for whatever else can be made.
I want to get back to the humanoid robot. It's Optimus. It's a topic that I actually I really enjoy covering because I am fascinated by these robots. But you recently had it was like a day or two ago, a cool thread on your X account looking at, or just talking about, if Tesla's still selling cars to, I guess, or just selling cars, I guess, through their dealer network over time. I mean, do you see a day where Tesla is no longer doing that and they are just operating a robotaxi fleet?
I do. And I'm in the minority for that. I actually ran a poll. You're right. Thank you for going on my X account. I ran a poll asking my 135,000 followers and anybody else who saw the poll whether they could imagine that at one point Tesla would not sell cars to the retail customer. Now, the good thing, just to also insert that, Tesla doesn't have a dealer network. Tesla sells directly to the customer, which is much more cost efficient. No bad purchasing experience where you're for half a day stuck in a dealership doesn't exist. You do all your ordering online and then you go and pick up your car. But anyway, so will there be a moment in 10 years, in 15, in 20 years, where it won't make sense anymore to sell cars to the consumer, but rather use those cars for the fleet, for the Tesla-owned fleet, which as robotaxis will serve people all over the world, but initially, obviously, in the United States, probably China, and very soon Europe. And then, has such a yield on those cars of incoming recurring income rather than selling it up front. You have to understand a car makes between $5,000 and $10,000 of profit the moment you sell it. So you have one moment where you are getting profit. If you're running it as a robotaxi, you obviously have a recurring profit, which is much, much higher. There you're getting into the 80 to 90% profit margin. And if you can use that car for 10 years, why would you sell it? Why would you give away the tool that makes you the highest margins?
Realistically, what do you think Tesla will unveil on, October 10th? Of course, the robotaxi day got moved. And then I'm sure obviously it'll be something robotaxi related, but do you think Tesla will also unveil a new model at the event?
They will reveal a car. But let me just first get to the dates. So it was initially scheduled for August 8th, so in 3 days. It was pushed out for further improvement of the car they're going to present to 10/10. So 8/8, 10/10. Today we're August the 5th. 66 days. So if you believe in good luck, all nice numbers, right? So the what will they show? They will show, in my view, the very well advanced prototype of what is called the cyber cab. In my view, I have no other insights. Is this going to be a two-seater? Because the most use of an Uber today is for 1 or 2 people. There are hardly more people, so there's no need to make a cab a bigger version at the moment. They may also hint at a future cyber van for bigger groups to use. So yes, I do believe they will show a car. I also believe they will actually show how this will become a business model, meaning, who can participate in this robotaxi business model? Who will earn how much money? How will it function? How does the app look like? Where is it going to start? Is it going to start in the United States in certain cities because there are licenses to be obtained? What does it mean for insurance? Who is now insuring these
Sure.
cars? So I expect most of those answers by then.
Alexandra, hang with us. We're going to go off for a quick break. Lots more to get to on all things Tesla. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. We're talking to Tesla investor Alexandra Merz, better known as Tesla Boomer Mama on X. Really enjoying this conversation. Before we get into the fundamentals, Alexandra, we talk to Tesla analysts, and they come on, and they talk about their models and their numbers, and they talk just very normal. But there's clearly a passion in your voice about this company. I imagine Elon. Where did all that passion come from?
So our family had EVs since 2014, since we moved to California. We had initially a BMW i3 and then a Bolt. Why did we have a GM Bolt? Because in 2017, we wanted to have the Model 3. We were on the waiting list for that, but they had production hell then, couldn't get it. So we needed a car, and we got a 3-year lease on the Bolt. That 3-year lease came up in 2020, just pre-COVID, and we test drove the Model 3 on a Tuesday afternoon. It's funny, I remember it, very clearly. It was such an experience. So I was coming from an EV experience. I knew what EVs was like to drive. I knew the torque they had. So it wasn't really about the drive experience, albeit it was much better, but it was this understanding how the car was actually a computer on wheels, how the whole infrastructure worked together. You had this beautiful screen, how the road was displayed, how you could drive, and then obviously at that moment a still very early version of FSD. So when we test drove that on a Tuesday afternoon, I came back to my house and I said to my husband, you know what, we're going all in. And you have to know I was a fund manager in my life. Long time ago, 20 something years ago. So I was brought up with all these diversification rules, 5%, 10%, don't do this, don't do that. So this was the first time in my life where I felt like I have discovered something that will profoundly change. And I only knew so little about it, right? So the Tuesday afternoon, we took that decision. All our liquid assets that we had in other stock and in funds and whatever were liquidated on that Wednesday morning. Now, good for us, it was the dip, it was the March dip, excuse me, the March dip of pre-COVID. Yep. So we got it all at a good price. And then obviously whatever happens with people like me who take decisions sometimes a bit too quickly, you sort of question yourself, did I do the right thing? And so I started researching, and like I said, I was a financial analyst and fund manager before, so I started digging into the stock. And more I learned, more I loved it. And so I had my confirmation bias on and again and on and again. And by now, it became clear it was not only a car company, it was an energy company. And it was this whole tech company that was going to bring us full self-drive, but that was also going to bring us this whole real-life AI, meaning we're going way beyond the language models where you have a sequence of words following each other and the probability of the next word being this word and yet then making it beautiful sense, right? But which is also only based on the data input you give these language models. Now here you have suddenly real AI where these millions of cars, now close to 7 million cars, are collecting constantly visual input, a data that nobody else has, and digests it in a way to action the car and sooner or later the bot. And you have the energy solution with it. So more I went into it, more I understood, how absolutely genius it was to bring all these pieces together and with which infrastructure this will be. Now, it doesn't come without emotions. I mean, I as any Tesla investor knows, we have our ups and downs, because while we see the long-term vision, obviously the day-to-day stock price can be fluctuating and complicated. But once you've seen this, this vision and understand where we're going and how there's nobody there. Nobody else has this real life AI mastered by having the data input and having the capacity, and now soon data centers that are just incomparable to anybody else's. I mean, it doesn't even compare to what Google or Meta, whoever else out there. So I know I'm going on and on, but the thing is, it is just so incredible.
But you are bringing up a key point about the cars. So a couple months ago, I had the good fortune, I spent the day with General Motors CEO Mary Barra, and we got to tour their electric vehicle manufacturing plant. I got to watch the new Lyriq being built from Cadillac. Cool stuff. The EV Blazer. And I came away thinking, Alexandra, I'm like, wow, these are real cars that GM is making, real EVs. I mean, the data's kind of cool. These things look pretty neat. I mean, do you worry that as more of the big three scale up their production, that they take market share from Tesla?
I hope for every EV that comes on the market. I really do. I'm rooting for them. Also love a lot about Rivian. The thing is, those are cars. Those are EV cars. They are not computers on wheels. The software is just not comparable, and the vision is not comparable, and it is not going where I think Tesla is going. What you have to understand, and I think I best explain it with the bots rather than the cars, because it's the same model. There will be lots of people producing bots, but it is one thing to have a good idea for a bot and having a prototype. It's a completely other thing, building it profitably at scale. And so that's the same issue we have with the EVs. For years now, these companies, these OEMs have been paying horrendous reg credits to Tesla. Tesla has by now $9 billion of reg credits from these OEMs because they cannot build the EVs. So they rather pay the penalty to Tesla than losing a lot of money on each EV they are producing. Now, I wish them all the best to, get there because we should have more EVs on the roads. They're the best type of cars, and people, once they discover it, will bridge this. But it is clearly not the same vision of full self-drive. Tesla is not about cars, so GM is not our competitor. There is actually no competitor out there for Tesla, other than some Chinese who have the same software vision. And that brings me actually to a subject I would really like to give me a minute, which is I think Tesla is in the wrong bucket at the stock exchange. Everybody considers Tesla a consumer discretionary stock. It should be in the tech bucket, and it will eventually move in the tech bucket because, as you know, S&P and MSCI, they decide once per year in which bucket a stock should be. And I'm sure in 2, 3, 4 years, they will finally understand it, because both income and revenue from Tesla will not come from cars, will come from software and energy, that's for sure, but it's not there. And the move from one bucket to the other means that the ETFs investing currently in consumer discretionary and the ones that are investing in tech are about 8 times the size. So that is going to be a seismic shift when Tesla moves a bucket, which is overdue.
Yeah. We have a couple minutes left, Alexandra. Let me see if I get a couple more in. One, I did want to touch on former President Trump has been out there on the campaign trail. He has made it known he is not a fan of EVs. Now, he came out recently, said he may be a little more open to EVs because Elon is supporting him. So what if the former president wins 4 more years in the White House, pulls that $7,500 tax credit. What impact does that have to Tesla in your view?
First of all, Tesla doesn't need those credits. It's nice to have, but they don't. They are the most profitable, the only profitable EVs out there, and they sell even without that credit. This is going to be difficult for competitors of Tesla, but not for Tesla. The second thing is President Trump wants to win Michigan. He needs Michigan, and I hear him loud and clear. I hope Elon reaches out to him and teaches him some lessons, because some of the stuff he says is not appropriate. It's just incorrect. And, we'll see how the election goes. But I actually think Tesla is going to be the winner no matter who the president of the United States is going to be starting in November.
And nothing lasts forever. Have you thought about life after Elon and what that might mean to the company's stock price?
Yes, that is difficult. That's a difficult question because he's clearly the key man. And we have fought very, very hard this year to win the shareholder vote in June, because we wanted to make sure he stays motivated and focused, and he is. So yes, it is difficult. There is obviously a succession plan now in place. 3-4 years ago, that seemed a little bit more unknown. But we hope to have him there as long as possible. What does it mean for the stock price? Well, it depends when it is. If it would come in the near future, it probably would be damaging to the stock price for quite a while. And it would be a shame, because I just don't think that without Elon, the company would get to their goal as quickly as with him. So I hope he's still there for a long time to come.
Have you ever met Elon or talked to him?
No, sorry, no, I did not. I wish I can one day. I had a short interaction with him, but not spoke to him at the shareholder meeting, because I was so vocal getting that vote in that one of the people at the end of the shareholder meeting called me out, and he bowed to me, and he sent me a thumbs up. So I like that, but no, I never spoke to him.
And 1 minute left, Alexandra. If Elon was sitting right next to you, what's the one thing you would tell him that you would like to see from Tesla?
Keep on going. Don't leave us.
Alexandra Merz, this has been a really fascinating discussion. We'll have to have you back, because I did want to talk a little bit more about the humanoid robot, but next time, indeed. Tesla investor Alexandra Merz, better known as Tesla Boomer Mama on X. Check her out. Really fascinating insights, literally around the clock. Alexandra, good to see you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and that's it for the latest episode of Opening Bid.